Hi, good evening. Hello. There we go. Yes.
Time.
Yeah, really. So nobody comes to these things to hear speeches. I get it, So I'll be brief. But coming in the door, somebody said to me, "Isn't it great that the Sunrisers are honoring all these people? They're honoring all these extraordinary people." And I thought about that for a few minutes, and I realized, well, that's one way to look at it. If you think back, 1962, Sharon's daddy hired 3 people: John Sasso, Billy Hightower, and Oris Kavanaugh. 3 extraordinary people. John Sasso, the best brass instructor that ever breathed, period. Okay, that's all. Billy Hightower, a genius from another planet, who invented drills by looking at the stars at night. Sound familiar, Jeff? Yeah. And Oris Kavanaugh, who had been taught by Bobby Thompson, the great Bobby Thompson, who also taught Dennis DeLucia, by the way, who also has a connection here. You know that 6 degrees Kevin Bacon thing, right? Yeah. So the idea is that the Sunrisers are and there are other corps like this too, but not exactly like this one. They're a continuity. They're a continuum. What came out of John Sasso? John Arietano, Pete China, Dennis Dewey. What came out of Billy Hightower? Well, Bobby Hoffman, for one. What came out of Hoffman? Zingali. And et cetera, right down to Jeff Sackler. That's a continuum. Right? What came out of Oris Kavanaugh? A guy named Billy Cobham. Right? Well, he marched in the Sunrisers for a while, and then he said, "I'm going to go off to march with Miles Davis." It's about, the Corps is honoring some people, but you know what? It's the people that honored the Corps. It's the people that were here that actually made the Corps look good. The Corps did not invent these people. These people invented the Corps. That's how it really works. That's why we're all here. That's why we do have, as Jeff said, we have that bond, and it's a bond of human beings, of passing on that tradition and passing on those ideas and all of that business. So, about Jack McGinnis. So what about Jack? Jack McGinnis, right? 2 N's, 2 S's, don't get it wrong. So here's some things that you don't know about Jack McGinnis. I mean, you can go online and find out a bunch of stuff. I'm sure the Sunrisers have a webpage somewhere where there's a bio and all of that, and it's it's what it is. But here's some things you don't know. First of all, he can knock you out with 1 punch. He can. Right. So don't get too close because he's left-handed. Truly. Also, what a tremendous bartender. I'm serious. His father owned a bar, and he came up through it honestly. I've seen him pour, give you the score, and push a bum out the door all at the same time. And while he got the jukebox guy to put Blue Rondo a la Turk on the show. So, the guy is a Renaissance man. Oh, Renaissance, that's 2 N's, 2 S's. So he's a Renaissance man. He's a theater director. Who do you know that memorized the entire score to Godspell so that he could give a bad time to the actors and the sound person and the lighting person all at the same time? But truly, a man of amazing talents. The best one, though, this is the best one. I was standing on the field one day when Jack McGinnis, the mathematics wizard, explained to one of, this person will remain nameless, Ralph Sure. He explained to one of the most famous drill instructors, Pythagoras' nightmare. And when Ralph said, "Look, you go 8 steps that way, you make a 90-degree turn, and you go 8 steps that way, and then you come back here in 8 steps." Jack said, "You ever hear of an isosceles right triangle?" The guy looked at him like he was from Mars. And Jack said, "Well, 1 square root of 2. So 8 times the square root of 2. You got it?" And I stood there and said, "That's my friend." And he is my friend, Jack McGinnis.
Thank you, Frank, for that fine introduction. And I will be brief. Out of the things I've heard tonight, to the gentleman that was here a few minutes ago, nicknames are very much a part of drum corps. I got a big kick out of that. He got his nickname, and that nickname will last forever. But Frank Doherty, Pete Hayes, Steve Painter, these are my boys that go back from 1968. And at one point in my life, Steve Painter said to me, when my son was born, that my son was now my best friend because blood is thicker than drum corps. Which was an interesting point of view, but I have to add to that, Steve-O, that the drum corps relationship has a thickness all its own. As you can see from all of the stories that were told here tonight. I'm not going to go through any history. I go back to 1968. Oris Kavanaugh was the drum instructor of the Sunrisers in 1968. And he gave us these. He was told at one point in 67 that the Sunrisers did not play with intestinal fortitude, which was his euphemism for balls. You know, the Skyliners, they played with balls. Apparently the Sunrisers did not play with balls. So Oris was going to change that by, he went to the hardware store and bought 34 of these things. We had 17 guys in the drum line, 2 apiece. Probably paid about a penny a piece for them. You know, but he gave them to all of us, and this became our gimmick. And let's just say that these 2 things, they started me on my journey to the Sunrisers Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.